Hey everybody, welcome back to Cardvoyant. My name's Chris and I'm your Cardvoyant. And here at Cardvoyant, we're all about using tarot cards to tap into your clairvoyant nature. But the key to being able to actually tap into your clairvoyant nature using the tool is to understand how the tool works. So that's what we're going to start doing right now. There are 78 cards in an average tarot deck, in the usual tarot deck, in the Rider-Waite tarot deck that we're going to be using. And they are divided into Major Arcana and Minor Arcana. Now, Major Arcana cards are all about big picture things happening in your lives. They can be about the essence of yourself and about your life. They're about life-changing events sometimes, big upheavals in your life or changes that are happening. And so these cards are essential to any tarot reading, especially because so many people that you read for, and yourself when you're reading often, that's what you're interested in knowing about, is these big picture kinds of issues. Now, there's an awful lot of thought that has gone into any tarot deck, certainly the Rider-Waite tarot deck. And these Major Arcana cards, the 22 Arcana cards, they actually do tell kind of a life journey. But it's not complicated, but there's a lot to it, and we're not necessarily going to get into that now. We can in future videos or in some classes that I may do a little bit later. There's also a lot of imagery, a lot of symbolism, of course, in the cards, and we also won't get into the more detailed aspects of that. And in some ways, they're not essential. I was going to say not important, but I don't want to quite put it like that. They're not essential to you doing a reading for yourself or for other people, because the main thing is to kind of know the overall idea of the card. Some of the little aspects of the card are, maybe important in various readings, but to know that general sense of the card, and then to use your intuition, let your intuition come through, open your mind to the guides that will be helping you through this and what they're saying, and go from there, to expand on the card's meaning in this personal instance that you're reading for. So we're going to kind of delve into the very basics, and I'm going to give you a tip for each card to help you remember it. And with the 22 Arcana cards, you have a big tip anyway, because every card has a name, okay, that is giving you a hint to what it's about. So let's delve right in, and we're going to start at the 0 card. There are 22 cards, but they go from 0 to 21. And the 0 card is the Fool. Now, the Fool is actually one of my favorite cards, and you'll get this card a lot in readings with people who are about to make a change, questioning whether they should make a change, and it can relate to anything. It can be a job, it can be a move, it can be a relationship, a business relationship. There are tons of changes that people make that require what this Fool talks about. This Fool card, I should say, talks about, because what it talks about is taking a leap of faith. You can see on the card that the figure is about to sort of walk off a cliff, and he's doing this like with his head in the air. He's wide open to the experience. That's why his arms are open, and he's unafraid. He carries a white flower, which is this flower of purity. That's the white symbol. So it's this idea of good intention, okay? And then there's also his companion dog that's like going to be by his side and urge him on. And this is your guides, your inner self, the people in your life, or the client that you're reading for in their life, that will always be there to help them. So this card is all about taking chances, big changes, stepping away from fear, losing fear. And the tip that I'm going to give you to remember this Fool card is exactly that. Look at the cliff when you see this Fool card. Look at the cliff and think of taking a leap of faith. Okay. Now the name, the Fool, refers less to the person and more to what others might say to this person, right? You're so foolish to leave this job and go to this job, or to step into some unknown, right? So that's your Fool card. All right, well, let's move on to the number 1 card. And I'm going to say all the time, this is my favorite card, but it's not. They're cards, the Arcana cards, so many of them evoke the very warm and like good feelings. So let's look at this Magician card. Now the Magician, as you'll see on his table, has all 4 symbols of the Minor Arcana, the different suits of the Minor Arcana, the pentacles, the cups, the swords, and the wands. So he possesses, the Magician does, all of these tools, as we all do. And he's holding this wand above his head that is a symbol of bringing the spiritual to the earth. He also has the infinity symbol above his head, which is this idea, again, of combining earth and spiritual and the eternal nature of all that. The Magician is all about purpose and desire, putting things into action, understanding that you have the tools to make your own dreams come true, or the person that you're reading for does. There is a lot of red and yellow in this card, and red is this symbol of passion and desire and execution of those things. And then the yellow is, of course, think of sunlight. So it's this warmth. This is an ensuring color, and a color of happiness as well. So when you look at the Magician, the thing to remember is having the Magician's tools that may seem like magic, but in fact are things that we all possess, and that we, if we will grasp onto them, we all can use to make our life better. So then we come to the High Priestess. And the thing to remember about tarot cards is that it has these archetypal images. And the feminine image is always a little bit more about intuition and about spiritual knowledge in a way that encompasses our intuition. It's often about these feminine feelings of nurturing and of being in touch with what we would consider, or have in the past considered, the feminine. So the High Priestess is all about the divine feminine. And these are iconic images. So even though we're talking about something traditionally feminine, obviously they can apply to any male that you're reading for. They can symbolize a portion of just that male energy that is a little bit more spiritual. But this is about spirituality, tapping into the deepest parts of our inner knowledge. And there's that feeling of tapping into what's below the surface. Okay. There's also a very much a peacefulness around this card, as there are around many of the more feminine cards. So there's that peace, that inner knowing. You can see that on her lap she holds the Torah, a book that says Torah, which refers to the first 5 books of the Bible. So there's this spiritual wisdom that she holds. There's also the moon, and she, at her feet and above her head, she wears a crystal ball. And these are also these ideas of tapping into this hidden inner spiritual knowledge. She is the embodiment of what you could call the divine feminine. And the way to remember her and her feminine, spiritual, inner knowledge is just by looking at the card and remembering the crystal ball, because I think the crystal ball will help you to remember this idea of inner knowledge, inner wisdom. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you again. I'm your Cardvoyant Chris, and we'll talk about tarot in just a few more days. Bye-bye.